Hey, what's good, creative fan? Brandon Washington here, and today I want to actually talk to you guys about a topic that came up just a couple days ago. So as some of you guys may or may not know, I recently released my new training course website, the Creative Fam Academy, and over on that website I released a training course all about how to shoot interview style videos. And this whole course is really just about, the process of shooting them, handling clients, what type of video you should do, lighting, audio, all that good stuff. If you guys want more information about it, check the links down below in the description. But in the process of talking about this, I had one of the students who took the course call me up and tell me that they actually got their first job and that they were excited about it, but the client started pushing back on them as far as the budget. And they wanted to ask me how much should they discount the product of the work? How much should they handle? And this brought up a really good point that I've actually covered in a previous video, but that is, how do you go about negotiating price with a client? See, personally, this is my least favorite part of the filmmaking journey, and that is negotiating price. Price really sucks because a lot of times we have to deal with, as creators, our balance between wanting to be creative and then also being systematic with dealing with pricing. Of course, none of us want to get screwed by lowballing ourselves, or we don't want to get screwed by setting a price that's too high and then the client walks away. But then what happens when you have a good price that you think is really good for your work, and then the client comes back and wants to do the project, but they don't necessarily have the budget that's necessary for them to do the project? Like, let's say, for example, you want to charge them $4,000 for the project, and that's going to include pre-production, showing up, production, post-production, and then all the revisions. And the client comes back and they say, well, we really only have about $2,000 to do this project. What can we do? I think this is where a lot of creators kind of make the mistake, and they say, well, I don't want to lose this client. So they go ahead and start negotiating the price, and they say, well, can you do $3,500? And the client comes back and says, no, we can really only do $3,200. And then by the time you're done, you say, fine, I'll do it for $3,200. The client has to pay an extra $200. You lose out on $800, but you got the job, and so you should be happy, right? Well, I don't think so. See, here's the big problem with that. You have just devalued your entire project by $800. And that's an issue that you're gonna have in the future. See, if you want this client to continue to work with you, it's very important at the very beginning that you set a proper value proposition. I mean, they have to know what they're getting and for how much, especially if they're gonna do ongoing work with you. So instead of negotiating the price, I strongly recommend negotiate the work. See, when you negotiate the work, instead of devaluing your overall project, you're just giving them less since they are technically paying less. For example, the easiest way I can kind of put this in a way that I think makes sense for most people is, imagine you wanted to go buy an Apple laptop, a MacBook, and you walked in the store and you said, I have $1,000 to buy a MacBook, and you were like, I want to buy the MacBook Pro. Well, if you walk into Apple and you want to buy a MacBook Pro and all you have is $1,000, they're not going to be able to sell you that MacBook Pro because it actually costs $1,200 or $1,500, whatever they cost. But what they can do is then say, well, let's look at the MacBook Air. Let's figure out what you really need, and let's figure out if the MacBook Air can work for you within that budget. And that's the way that it works. See, you're paying less money, but you're getting less in return. If you're out there and you're having to negotiate the price with a client, I strongly recommend that you negotiate the work. If the client can't afford the original budget, don't give them all the exact same services for the exact same value. Just put some of the work maybe back in their hands. For example, they handle pre-production, or they handle location scouting, or they handle, getting permits and making sure that the production is on schedule. They start handling more of the producer role. See, a lot of times as creators, we do it all. We handle lights, audio, we shoot, we edit, we do all the pre-production, we end up producing. We're so much into this one-man band type of a setup, when honestly, if you start having to negotiate the price and you start putting some of that back on the client, it becomes a very fair trade-off for them. Now they are getting a lower price for the overall project, but now, yes, they have to do a bit more work in order to have the project done. And honestly, I think that is the best way, because at that point now you are no longer devaluing your overall product. So in the future, if they decide, hey, we don't want to do location scouting, we don't want to do production work, then now they pay you to do that in the future, and you haven't devalued yourself in any way. So this is my honest recommendation for a lot of you guys out there who are trying to negotiate with clients and making sure that you don't get screwed over in the process. Stop negotiating the price and start negotiating the work. I hope this video helped some of you guys out there. As you guys know, I do have my Creative Fam Academy website up and live right now. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, links to that will be down below in the description. Ultimately, my goal is just to help as many of you guys as I possibly can to be able to turn your passion of filmmaking into a full-time career. And I understand that the business side of that is probably one of the more difficult sides to actually get a good grasp on, which is why part of that Creative Fam Academy is going to be an entire section dedicated to business. So any business related questions that you guys have, be sure to leave those down in the comments so that way I can work on that course next. We are going to be pumping out so much training over on that platform for you guys, because that is the purpose right now. The purpose is to help as many of you guys turn this into a career. And at this point in time, especially with this whole pandemic and everything being up in the air, this is the perfect time to make a shift in your life and in your business. If you've wanted to be able to go full time into this, this is the perfect time to go all in and know that this is where you're going to be moving going forward. So if you're interested in that and you want to know more information, links down below in the description. But thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.